So, San Antonio football family, we have a special guest for you. This is incredible for us. We are very fortunate and honored to have Mr. Richard Sanchez, one of the San Antonio FC goalkeepers, a very well-known, respected name in Liga Mexico, Liga MX, and Major League Soccer, and now in here at the USL level and I love to see that star on your jersey, San Antonio FC. Mr. Sanchez, welcome to Soy San Antonio football, sir.
Yeah, no, thank you for the introduction, and I'm glad to be here.
It's incredible what you've been speaking about. I want our audience to know that there's an amazing role that you have taken up on San Antonio FC. But before we get into that and the story of you and football, tell us a little bit more about your background. I will say this, like I mentioned before, you have experience with Tigres, who's going to be here this weekend. You have experience in the Major League Soccer circuits. The most important thing is you are a Texas homegrown, you signed your homegrown contract with FC Dallas. So your roots are rooted here in the States. Guide us through these journeys, what it takes to get to that next level, and then we'll move on into the next spots of your awesome new role as mentor now at San Antonio FC.
Yeah, thank you. So I was originally born in California. We moved to Texas when I was 12 years old, specifically into Dallas. And it wasn't anything soccer related. It was just my dad wanted a new life in a new state, and so he moved the family out there. My family is from Mexico, so it's Mexican ethnicity, Mexican background, and kind of grew up with that culture. All these years. Yeah, I've had the blessing and the fortune to be able to play in some pretty good teams with some legendary players, and ultimately led me to some opportunities such as the one here in San Antonio. We were speaking about it earlier, and I do believe that there is an untapped potential in San Antonio, and just all over Texas. There's a lot of talent for sure.
That talent goes beyond just our state. I'm pretty sure being you, as we hear Texans call you Californians, Los Californios, you know all about the soccer of Texas. I don't know if you've been able to see some of our young tournaments here at the UIL at the 6A, 4A, 5A, 6A level in Texas, but that competition is intense for these young high schoolers that are coming through. Not only that, but the vast amount of talent of academies and development schools here in Texas. Let's hone in on San Antonio. I love the fact that the city and the team players talk about the untapped talent. What has impressed you the most about this city, specifically San Antonio, and the level of soccer?
Um, I think that it's a city that's grown for sure. I mean, I've been in and out of the city, whether that's been me playing at the venue here or just, passing by even through the I-35 corridor when I've had to drive from Mexico into Dallas.
Nice.
Uh, so, I've been familiar with San Antonio for a while, and it was always like, San Antonio is a big city with a small town feel. Is actually what I spoke to with an Uber driver one time that I was in a ride, and it's basically that big city with a small town vibe. And even within that small town vibe or energy that you might feel, there are people that are willing to put in the work and show what it is that they have to offer, and that translates into soccer. This is predominantly Hispanic, Latino players in South Texas, and I'm being a Latino myself. You see kind of like the culture being reflected in the way that you play, which is hardworking, mixed in with the talent that you have, and always giving it your all and not giving up. So I think with what San Antonio has to offer is exactly that with some of these players that I've seen even just come up into the first team within the past 2 3 weeks that I've been here, 4 weeks now. There are some talented players out there that can definitely play at a high level.
You know, you've only been here, like you mentioned, just a couple 4 weeks, and you find San Antonio FC in a spot where I wouldn't say it's unfamiliar, but it's uncomfortable at the moment for a lot of us. But there's a lot of fighting spirit that the boys are doing. You come in with 13 seasons of experience. You have you've been with I believe Memphis 901 at one point. Your MLS goes with LA. You're a California guy, so LA. You played
Galaxy.
with out in LA. It was LAFC Galaxy. Thank you. With Galaxy, you're out there with the Galaxy, Sporting KC. So you primarily, have honed in with teams that have been victorious. Now we are still on the cusp of still making and fighting for that playoff spot. And a lot of folks, they would love to see San Antonio FC down where we are right now. But one thing that we love is, yeah, we're here, but we're still fighting. Talk about these years of experience and these last 4 weeks, and how fortunate we are, honestly, to see the change in these last couple games to get us back into those positions to continue fighting forward.
Yeah, like I said, I've been blessed and fortunate just to be involved in some great clubs. There was always that interest from some of these teams, and I'm a person who's always liked challenges and is never really comfortable with staying comfortable.
Oh,
I
wow.
like to
Yeah.
branch out and grow personally, and I like to put myself in the best environments that I possibly can, so that I can get the most out of myself and that I can prove to myself what I'm capable of doing. Um, uh, and then along the way, there's some decisions that are, football related or business related that, perhaps don't go my way. And that's why perhaps you have seen me, go from one team to another. And there's some external factors there that come into play too, where it's more, what is more convenient for the player, or in this case, myself, right? So some of the decisions that I've made that have, essentially been reflected to me bouncing from team to team, has had to do with many other factors. But the thing is that for me, it's always been putting myself in the best environment. And so when I was brought, the opportunity or the chance to come here to San Antonio, it was a no-brainer for me because of the winning mentality that they have
Yeah.
here,
Yes.
and the championships that they have. So, playing under a coach like Alan Marcina, whom, there's been a history with between him and I, where, there's been contact to even try and come over here in years prior. But it just wasn't the right moment, or I was just in a different, moment in my career where my priorities were perhaps different. But football works in mysterious ways sometimes, and
Yes.
and
It
uh,
sure does.
like I said, it opened up an opportunity for me to finally come here to San Antonio, which is, to be honest with you, like I said, I've been in and out of San Antonio, whether it's to play against, SAFC or just to visit. And it was always like a little, like there was always like a little voice in my head saying like, "Hey, Rich, this probably is a good setup to try and come out to." So, like I said, one thing led to another. I'm here now, and yeah, like you mentioned, historically speaking, the team has been, in under better circumstances, but I think even with the position that we're in right now, you can still see and feel that fighting spirit within the club, within the team, that we're not giving up. Despite the results, despite the circumstances that are within, what we're being, what we're seeing, and that starts with our game tomorrow against Colorado Springs, or Colorado Switchbacks. Sorry, out here in Colorado Springs. So we're looking out for those 3 points, and we're gonna do whatever it takes to get those 3 points.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I want to thank you so much for taking a little bit of time of your day to podcast with us for our San Antonio FC audience, and as well as our international audience that love the game of football here in San Antonio. It's I didn't want to mention it, but you're getting ready to go on and take on a very pesky team that we in San Antonio don't get along with the Switchbacks. But you know what? We are honored, and we're so thankful that you're actually and that you guys that the team itself has just been pushing regardless, no matter what. And I think that's a reflection of just internal leadership and external leadership out there. And that's where you come in. And I've seen you have some really talented keepers, and you are the veteran individual. What message would you give to the young soccer player when he's coming up about embracing roles in soccer? Everybody wants to talk about the winning soccer player and the starting minutes and all these things, but you as we agreed, football soccer works in mysterious ways, and one of these roles in soccer is there's leaders, there's mentors, there's there's eventually you're going to fall into what I like to call your character of football. Talk to us about your football character and these roles in mentorship, and how important is it for the development of a soccer player from infancy, from childhood to youth up to this point.
Yeah, well, one advice that I would give younger players that are aspiring to be professional soccer players to work hard. Certainly, talent can only take you such a long way, and I've seen it through and through with many different players where they're very talented, but they lack the work ethic and they only go so far. They don't go too far. So definitely, the work ethic has to be there, and not just necessarily work hard, but work smart, work intentionally, and look to see what it is that you can be better at in order to be able to come out in front of the person that's in front of you. With that being said, as I kind of spoke earlier on the business side of the game, sometimes some things are out of your control as a footballer. So you might end up being in a different team in a different state, and so then that's gonna test your character, right? And so now you're talking about having a strong personality and a strong character, but more importantly, how adaptable can you be for whenever it is that you do have to make that move, right? So hopefully, for some of these young guys coming up, they're staying in their club for a long time and they're being successful and they don't necessarily have to move so often. But I think that that's what's become a core strength of mine when I've moved into different teams, is that I'm adaptable and that I can get along with basically anybody that you put in front of me, because I like to connect with people at a human level, even though we might be competing for the same spot. But at the end of the day, we're humans and we're here for the same goal, which is to win. So in the role that I'm taking in right now, I'm not entirely sure if I would call it a mentorship role, because you have footballers such as Pablo and Kendall McIntosh, who they themselves have a great amount of experience, right? So it's more so like just bouncing ideas off of each other and seeing how we can be better, and just having a healthy competition within the position, so that ultimately we're getting results for the team. And so I think the underlining message here for me would be just to try and be adaptable for some of these young players that are trying to make it into the next level.
That's I mean, I'm just grasping all this, and I'm loving everything because I can just feel the I have so many ideas from what you just said, just with the basic concept of teamwork, uh leadership, experience, guidance. There's so much there to digest for the young footballer coming up in the next phases. Now, let's get a little bit more into your style of football. You at one point played with the men's national team of Mexico, I think at the U17, U20 levels. Let's tap a little bit into that experience, how that was. And then you were part of the Tigres, and we have Tigres and Rayados coming in today. As a matter of fact, they're flying in today, and then they're flying out tomorrow. Talk to us about your passion for football and your experiences growing up in international football as an American, as a Mexican American. It is Hispanic Heritage Month, and this is part of our Mexican Heritage podcast. But talk to us about the Latino, the Mexicano, the Latino Americano in the United States, in los Estados Unidos, just trying and working for football, and that passion that drives it, hermano.
Yeah, it's of all the people that I've spoken with and just the very many people that I've had conversations with, you obviously, me being Latino, Mexican American specifically, you try to connect with, your Latino roots, whether they're from Nicaragua or from Costa Rica or from anywhere, in Latin America. And the most common thing that I've come together with all these Latin people is the fact that they're just hardworking and that they come to the United States for a better opportunity, at whatever cost that may be, right? And they're sacrificing a lot of things sometimes. There's so many political things going on in different countries that they're hopping or walking through jungles, hopping on trains to try and just have a better life for their family or just themselves, right? And I think that that's something that is very respectable. Putting politics aside, it's just trying to be a better person and trying to be a better human and looking for the best opportunity possible. And that's what I've seen reflected, throughout the many conversations that I've had. Uh, and that in and of itself, you can see that reflected in me because, as you mentioned, yeah, I was at Tigres, and that was a very challenging time for me, because it's a big club,
Hmm.
have high caliber players, and in the goalkeeping position, there's only one player going to play, and that player was at the time Nahuel Guzman, who was still a starting goalkeeper. So it was very difficult. I'm not going to say that it was a walk in the park for me, but I did learn a lot. I learned a lot from Nahuel, and more specifically from Tuca. Because the styles of play here in the States versus what it is in Mexico might be different, and everybody has different ideas. But I thought that at the time, Tuca Ferretti was a tactical genius, and it was something that I cherished while I was there, looking back at it. So it was a good time. Once I reflect on it, and then just going even before that to Tigres, which actually, being with the Mexican national team is what led me with an opportunity to land at Tigres, because of the success that I had within at the U17 level. And then, us winning that World Cup in 2011 in Mexico, and then and going into the U20 World Cup out in Turkey, and then doing a little bit of the under 23 camps as well. So, um, the styles of play might be different in different countries. And again, it's that adaptability factor that you try to, implement into your game in order to come out at front. So, for me, again, it's going back to, uh, you know, taking advantage of the different opportunities that you're getting, being adaptable, and just putting your head down and working, and only control what you can control, and the rest will kind of take care of itself. So, um, yeah, it's been great experiences for sure.
The beauty of the Latino Americano is that you cannot deny the fact they are hardworking and they're going to find a way. Wherever there's a possibility, there's a way. And when those goals and those dreams come to your mind and to your heart, you can accomplish them 100%. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Final thoughts. We're going to be closing this one out. Uh, there's so much going on in football world right now. We've spoken a lot about the young footballer coming up in the United States. What next steps do you foresee, Richard, to that these young American soccer players here in Texas need to really start working on, in your opinion, as a professional that has gone through the development stages? What is some, I wouldn't call it advice, but what pointers can you give these young aspiring talented soccer players here in San Antonio moving forward into the next steps? Some of them get discouraged because they don't get called up to a USL, PDL, MLS Pro, MLS Next. Some of them just get discouraged because they don't have that opportunity. What pointers, what guidance can you give these young players here in this city of San Antonio?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a right answer for that. Um, because everybody's built different, everybody's raised differently, right? Everybody has a different mindset, everybody has different goals. But definitely have a clear goal in mind, and based on that goal, try to work towards that. But have smaller objective goals that are going to get you towards that bigger goal that you have. And even if there's a rock that you stumble upon along the way, that's just a test of character, and that's a test of saying, hey, are you actually built for this? Like, because you might be going through some more tougher challenges and experiences, right? Can you actually just get over that hump and continue working? um, so what I would say to the young footballer right now is, first of all, enjoy it, because if this is actually something that you really want to pursue, you have to first enjoy it. And the second thing that I would say is, like, be a student of the game. Learn, watch video, watch, games, ask the questions that you want to ask. If that's, just having a conversation with your coach or with your family, whomever it is that you're comfortable with speaking about football, go ahead and have those conversations, because at the end of the day, there's no one right way in football within the game. The game is so dynamic that you really have to just be, thinking ahead sometimes, or just looking at things, from a different scope. So really just be a student of the game, and try to learn, and grasp a lot of different ideas from very many different people, so that ultimately you just have more tools in your tool bag. And if you do start going in from UPSL or PDL or MLS Next, you have all these tools in your bag, so that coaches are saying, oh wow, this guy is actually good at this one specific thing, this is what makes them stand out. Why don't I give them a shot at a team, or at a spot in our team? So definitely hone in on your strengths, work on your weaknesses, but what's going to separate you from the rest is the strengths that you already possess.
That is absolutely wonderfully put. I absolutely love that. I think that is the right answer, in my opinion. That's exactly what needs to be said, what needs to be told. Ladies and gentlemen, Soy San Antonio Football, San Antonio FC goalkeeper Richard Sanchez. We got to sit with him for our Hispanic Heritage Month podcast. Thank you so much, sir, for taking time out of your day to speak to our audience, our young footballers, and here to all our Futbol San Antonio nation. We have 100% confidence that you boys are going to deliver and get the job done. Thank you so much for joining our squad and being part of the city and just embracing what San Antonio FC and what San Antonio and what the city of the Alamo City has to offer. Last words, I'm going to let you have it. Folks, thank you so much. This is Richard Sanchez. Sir, you got the last words for our audience supporting San Antonio FC.
Yeah, no, we feed off of the energy that the fans give us. Every time that I've been here at San Antonio, playing at Toyota Field, the crowd has always been buzzing, and just leaving it now and being a part of the club, you can feel that energy. And so, even just to close out the season, we definitely do depend on that energy from them, and that we hope that they can come out and support us at the pitch, in the stadium for these final games that we have coming up after Colorado, and so that we can close out the season strong with the playoffs in mind. So just let them know that we're gonna give it our all to qualify and give the best results that we can.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Richard. San Antonio FC Nation. Continue packing Toyota Field. You guys have been amazing. It's been tough, but you guys keep showing up. We are still one of the top venues to be going to. For Soy San Antonio Football, I am Benjamin Mendoza. Thank you so much, Richard.
Richard Sanchez, incredible. Arrow the cross, deflecting. Javinko. Sanchez. Sanchez out to knock it down. But this is it. The strike saved by who else? Atlanta trying to close the deal. Sanchez. Now Royer's back post. This could be his goal. Royer, what a save by Sanchez. Oh.